So this video is for STEP and comp. Well, the other video I made was if you're trying to pass comp the first 2 weeks. I just want to add to that, if you have been doing Sketchy for micro and farm, make sure you rewatch Sketchy. Like if you watch it on 1.5 speed, a couple of videos a day, you should get through all of micro and most of farm, at least ones you really want to review. And just a recap from that video, go over first and second semester stuff, first few pages of the different organ systems in first aid. So basically they all cover embryology, anatomy, and physio. So you want to make sure you go over that. Then second, binge watch Pathoma and DIT and then 120 questions per day, and then go in detailed review of each of those questions and answer choices. Try to take notes and make little, you can annotate your first aid, but to add on about covering up the answer choices, when you're covering it up, come up with a prediction of the answers. It doesn't have to be exactly the prediction, diagnosis, or treatment, or whatever it might be. It can be, I know it's a platelet problem, or I know it's a gram-positive bug, or something like that. Then uncover your answer choices. If you see the answer that you predicted, pick it and move on. Don't linger. Don't try to make yourself feel better by trying to compare and guarantee that that's the right answer. If you see something close, pick it and move on. If you don't see your answer choice, rule it out by process of elimination, and do not rule in, but rule them out. And when you're reading the question, try to come up with a diagnosis within the first few sentences of the question. So you haven't come up with a diagnosis or a prediction within the first few sentences, and you're towards the end and you have no idea, this might be one of those questions you're going to have to mark and move on. Because the more you get towards the end of the question set or the vignette, the least likely you are to get that answer choice right, statistically speaking. So try this in tutor mode and see if you're being more accurate, if you're getting more answers right doing it this way. You can get faster if you're getting more answers right. After you do it in tutor mode, maybe try 10 questions or so, then do like a time block of 40. So if you're getting more answers right, don't stick with it. It's not for everybody. Keep it, and you can get faster with it if you keep practicing the more questions that you do. Okay, so now to give a shout out to my friends Bobby and Yasmin. She has a blog called YBT. He talked about his studying for comp, and it was really amazing. And what he mentioned, I like the word he used. He used the word meat and potatoes. So this is where you sort of change the game up. This is where you start learning how to be a real doctor. And I just want to I like how he used that, and I want to sort of explain or expound. Is that word, expound? Is that a word?
I don't know.
When the patient...
This is what the vignette is talking about. Who walked in the door? And then what are all the socio-economical and cultural things that surround that patient? Then we jump to the sort of multi-system problem that's going on. Okay, I have upper right quadrant, and I have my toe hurts, and I have a cough, or whatever. Symptoms. These are your symptoms. Then from symptoms, you go to the organ that's affected. Then the tissue that's affected in that organ, right? Maybe it's your squamous cells or your respiratory epithelium or whatever it might be. Then, or the cell that makes up that tissue. And then you have to know the protein that is going wrong in that particular type of cell, and then the DNA that codes for that protein. So what you're trying to do is that for each disease, you need to be able to walk along this continuum from DNA all the way back to patient. And so that is the sort of breadth, or the more of the hearty, meaty thing. We're not really taught to do that as much. Teach ourselves as we study for stuff. Patient walks in. How do I tell the difference in particular between a patient? What does a patient look like that says, I have this problem? Patients with AFib say, I have palpitations, or my heart feels funny. Patient GERD will say, I have chest pain and stomach pain, or chest pain. So differentiating between how do I know what world I am in? How do I know if I'm in GI? How do I know I'm in cardio? How do I know where I'm at? So that's the meat and potatoes. Walking along that spectrum for each disease. So for cystic fibrosis, like I have to understand the infections that I can get, like Pseudomonas and all that stuff. I have to understand the gene that causes this whole continuum of cystic fibrosis. For MI, for whatever. That's just so. How do I do all that? What I was taught in the Becker course, and I took the shorter version.
Number one, that's what I post on my Instagram. Anatomy, using anatomy, so drawing the anatomy, using algorithms and then using charts. So on my Instagram, you'll see that like I actually drew the female vagina and I put the diseases on the vagina, where they're actually located, what part, or there's a I think I haven't posted it yet, but like say the nephron, I know that hypertension is going to cause diseases in my arterioles. Then there's algorithms. So I've already been posting algorithms on my Instagram, so you definitely can see I have the anemia one, which is like one of the most important ones, the jaundice one, and I think I have I just posted a one with repro and sexual those are the algorithms are the best way, and they're really are the best way because they allow you to encompass a lot of material, and that's how you should definitely be thinking on your test. As soon as you see symptom A, B, or C, then the last thing is charts. So the Becker book and the first aid books have great charts that summarize things. So like I get my boyfriend to call out all the different organisms that cause UTIs, and I have to tell him the presentations, or I have to tell them what he describes the presentations, and I have to tell them the organism. But you can also cover up with one sheet of paper and then read off the other side. So once you make these sort of schematics, either your chart, your algorithm, your anatomy, and you can use my Instagram as like inspiration, or you can just copy it or whatever. And your Becker books, first aid, blah blah blah. You rewrite these like 7 to 8 times. Teach them to your study partners or your friends or in family, whatever, and write them on the dry erase board. Take out a sheet of paper and be able to just write these cold. Like charts, that's ridiculous, but the charts you should be able to cover up one side and do the other side we're talking about. So this same thing goes for biochem. The pathways for biochem, you need to be able to rewrite them several times. Questions determine if what you're getting wrong is because of test taking strategies, or because of knowledge. So did you just not know what was going on at all? Like for behavioral, that's me. Like I'm never gonna get a question wrong because it was strategy. No, I don't know what I forgot the equation. I don't know, or I don't know how to solve it. So that means I have to go back. So that's why I'm doing like a whole behavioral. So if you're advocating for distractors, remember what I talked about in the last video, like you didn't read all of the answer choices, or you didn't read the question fully, like you left something out, like you didn't read it fully, like, oh, I didn't see that it said not, or just made it up in my mind. You missed something in the vignette. So that's what I talked about with sort of working memory. I was talking about, or you changed your answer. If you look on what's UWorld, they'll tell you how many, it might be UWorld or I can't remember, how many answers you changed from wrong to right, and how many answers you changed from right to wrong, or just wrong to wrong. Don't change your answer. Just don't change your answer. This is one reason why I also do a lot of questions, is to hone in on this test taking. And then just to repeat from last video, if you're stuck between 2 answer choices, I always choose the wrong one. You're always like, oh, I always go with the wrong one. I feel like people do that. But try to choose the most common cause, or even if it's just related. It's like, well, I know the neural 2 defects are related to this drug, so I'll just go. Like, yeah, do that. I hear this a lot. So if you have no idea. That's like a last resort type. If your problem is knowledge, then you need to go back and review content for that section. As you get closer to test day, you're going to do more questions and less content. So here are some things that helped me and that I'm still planning on doing.
I plan on reading first aid 2 times. There is a good video that talks about first aid. I've sort of been through it once, but I'm really going through it more densely since now I'm just studying for STEP. But read first aid 2 times. Do UWorld at least 1 time if possible, and then 2 times if you can. So if you do sketchy and micro, do farm and micro. So for each review system, you're going to read first aid. I do a lot of other things while I'm reading. So I kind of combine. When I read first aid, I also will, if it's something that is, I know is weak for me, I also watch Words and Beyond or DIT. Read first aid for that organ system. Then do questions just on that topic. 5 questions at a time, and then review those questions. Or you could 10 questions in tutor mode. Either way, you're getting that sort of just focus. Then you can, as you're going along, just keep adding all the sections that you already reviewed. This is my 2nd time going through first aid. I have done micro, biochem, immuno, behavioral. So I'm going to do questions on those. Or if I've done, you can do that as you build up, because
if you haven't really reviewed it, it's not a really good, you're not going to do as well so much on the questions. And then you can do mixed blocks, like here and there on the weekends. And every weekend do like an NBME. You can find PDFs of NBMEs, and you can find explanations online if you Google that NBME. Like if you Google NBME 17, you can find. So those explanations are not full, like, but there are some, and there's some that make it. Please add to the community. Like make some, type some out, and post them or whatever on, or share them with your Ross friends. If you use a question that's really confusing, I'm really sure you can find an explanation for it if you Google it. Then, as this is still within your system review, make your study schematic. So you can go to Jasmine Goes to Med School and look at my stuff, or you can make your own. Looking for, say, what way am I going to memorize the heavy facts of it? When you do your questions, this was given to me as advice, and I've been doing it, and I'm going to pass it along, and I want to spread it and see how you all think about it. And I take my first aid and write things that I didn't know at all, like when I go through each answer choices in red, and then things I didn't know in green. You can choose 2 colors. You can do blue and pink. You can do whatever you want. Something for stuff you didn't know and stuff you did know. And I think that does help, and it's sort of identifying what I'm weak in. So that is a tip. And please, if it helps, let's come together. Like, let me know if that helps.
So everything that I just talked about was reading first aid, doing your questions afterwards, focus just on that topic, then creating a study schematic and rewriting it 7 to 8 times so you can do it without looking, and then do mixed questions on the weekends, or maybe halfway throughout the week after you've gone over some stuff. Weekends do NBME. So you can create a study schedule like this. I have a planner that it has the hours on it. It stresses me out to, like, I'm sort of different. What I'm trying to give you is like, hey, you don't have to have a rigid, it has to be rigid, but you can have sort of like a fluid, these are the things I have to do each day, blocks of things to do. And that's kind of what I'm telling you. Yes, please have a study session. In the morning, I do review. In the morning, I also do like anatomy. I have an anatomy coloring book by Princeton Review that I'm using to go over my anatomy. And then I redraw those pictures out on the board. And then I do review my topic that I'm reviewing that day, and then I do questions, review the questions, then I go work out, making sure to eat and work out. I think that really changed the game for me. I found a class that I take. Don't play yourself. Like, if you're not gonna go to the gym, or like go take a class, go take Zumba, go take body pump, whatever it might be. Play basketball, do something fun. For RX, I know sometimes it's really hard to understand. Like, am I gonna pass comp? Like, I don't know. If you're getting 60s and 70s, or high 60s and then up to 70s on RX or UWorld, you should be good to pass comp. If you're just getting 60s, it's a toss-up. Video, do an NBME before your comp. Usually like a week out or so, you should know where you're at. Do those things. Please assess yourself, because there's no need in wasting all this time and money that you spent, and you don't really know if you're ready or not. So if you can tell, there are ways you can tell. This doesn't have to be blind. Somewhat. I mean, getting into the 70s, you're pretty probably good to pass comp, because you need a 70. And RX and UWorld are harder than comp questions. I repeat, RX and UWorld are harder than comp.